Leah's Gunners Collective. Back at it, you already know. Like a motherfucking smack addict, right? And as you can tell by today's thumbnail, yes, indeed, I'm going to tell you guys a little story. A story I came across a while back, and it piqued my interest. It was very interesting. I said, Sasuke, this vato right here in a menudo style in direct fashion is off the chain. He's off the hook. He's about his business. But there's a lot of a backstory to it. A little bit of a backstory and a lot of a backstory, right? People don't just turn out to be criminals, gangsters, gang members, vicious, voracious people, people that are heartless, just like that. There's things that happen in their life, and that's how they become that way, right? So with that being said, man, as you can tell by the thumbnail, we're getting into the Troy Kell story, a gladiator, a true warrior. Of course, there was a Netflix special done on this guy, and it was very in-depth, man. It piqued my interest. And for those of you that don't know the story, I know many of you do, I'm going to fucking reiterate it and put it out there because it was just something that I was like, good Lord, I got to talk about. This motherfucker right here is crazy, right? So trip out. Let me go into a little bit of the backstory and then we'll talk about it. So coming across this story, I seen this guy. And of course, you know, they showed a prison stabbing that he was involved in the state of Utah. And when I seen it, I had never seen something take place this flamboyant, this vicious. And I've been on yards and I've seen people get hit on yards and I've participated in things on yards of that nature, right? But this was just a little bit more outlandish. This was just a little bit more out there. Just the way he did it and the nonchalant characteristics of the movement of his body when he did it. He didn't give a fuck, right? So I was scared. Watch out, man. This is me, man. Order the Danny, man. Look at me, man. He was on it and he didn't care, right? Now, you got to think in the back of his mind, man, something was going through his mind. There was adrenaline rushing, you know, all eyes on me. People are looking at him. So, of course, he's going to, you know what I mean, have his chest poked out like the orale, gallo negro, like the rooster, right? The black rooster. But at the same time, man, he had to be feeling some type of way. Or maybe not. I don't know. We'll get down to the bottom of it. Here's the backstory to Troy Kell. Okay, Troy Kell is from Nevada. He's from Nevada, the good old state of Nevada. So I could put a quarter in. Sas, jackpot, right? He's from the state of Nevada. And he got caught up in a murder, you know. In fact, it was a very famous murder that happened in Nevada. And he also became known as the show and tell murderer. Okay, they put a label on it. They put a name on it, and I'm gonna tell you the reason behind that. There was a young woman that he was acquainted with. Okay, I think she was 14 to 15 years old, and she was a family friend. He was actually friends with her brother. Okay, and this family was one of those, you know, kind of trailer park families, not really having it their way, you know, just kind of fucking ghetto. The family's into getting high, kicking back. Now we're a bunch of lazy motherfuckers, put it like that. You know, that's the way I look at it. But he was affiliated with these people because of their son, and he kicked back. Now, Troy Kell was always a quiet individual in school, very quiet, stuck to himself, but also had a persona of he didn't play, he was with the business, okay? And some people are just like that. You look at him, you know right from the gate, this motherfucker right here ain't fucking around. He's different. Where are your antennas when this motherfucker's acting way different, right? Very quiet, well poised. You could just tell that he'll hurt you, okay, or he'll at least try. So what had happened was this younger girl somehow got affiliated with some guy named James Cotton, right? And James Cotton was trying to basically prey on her, okay? Her being younger, he was trying to prey. He was a weirdo, you know what I mean? SPM shit, right? He was trying to prey on her. He kept aggravating her, stalking her, getting at her, asking her questions inappropriately, and just things of that nature. Of course, she went back and she told her mother, she told her familia, her brother, his friends, one being Troy Kell. And, you know, the mother went to the police. She was a citizen. She was normal. She went to the police, told them, hey, this guy, he's older, you know, he's in his 20s, late 20s. He's aggravating my daughter. He's basically, you know, saying inappropriate things to her. And back in them days, this was the early 80s, there was no stalking charges. They couldn't do anything about it. They said, Sasuke, tell her to walk the other way. To walk on by, which of course, you know, ain't a laughing matter and ain't a funny situation because this young girl was feeling the pressure. And this guy was relentless every day. So, of course, with the Placas not really taking the time to do anything, they really didn't want to or couldn't. Their hands were tied. They just weren't making an issue out of it. You know, he hadn't touched her. He hadn't really physically harmed her. So they felt that for no other reason until that happened. So, okay, hey, their name was Bennett and they fucking weren't in it, right? But of course, Troy Kell and his friends felt a certain way. You know, this was his friend's sister. Nah, Charlie, Holmes, it ain't going to go down like that. And I would have felt the exact same way. Fuck that, Holmes. You ain't going to get down like that. So what they proceeded to do was to lure this man out to the desert, right? Of course, you know, Nevada having a lot of desert. They lured this guy into the desert where Troy Kell shot him 6 times in the face. Bang, bang. It'd be like that sometimes, right? It was cold that night. Yeah, the air was blowing. Hit him 6 times in the face. And then, of course, they left the scene. The reason, there was 3 of them. It was Troy Kell, another individual that was involved, and this chick, you know, the younger kid. The reason why they call him the show and tell killer is this guy that was with Troy Kell kept taking people to the body, to the scene, to show them the body, you know, of course, and telling everybody what the fuck happened. Of course, they get apprehended. They get gaffled up. Troy Kell got his muzzle on lock, sticks to the grind. The chick ain't trying to say too much. And of course, the guy gives him up. The guy ends up with 12 to 15 years. He tells on everybody, you know, he showed them and he told them, right? The show and tell killers. He ends up getting 12 years. The chick catches, I think, 22 life. She is now out. She just recently got out. And Troy Kell catches life without the possibility of parole. So he was told on, and it was a cold situation for him, okay? Of course, now being young, you got to understand, he was young when he did this. He was 17, 18 years old when he committed this murder. Okay? Troy Kell was a youngster. He goes to the Nevada Department of Corrections system. Immediately, they were having, at this time, interstate compact, meaning they were having the trade system. They were trading people to different states. Now, they've done that in California. I know my brother did time in Arizona and Oklahoma. They were sending people to different states, you know, to these private prisons or to these state prisons. For one reason or another, they were trading inmates. Maybe Utah had some notorious inmates that were no good, that were like telling on people or things like that nature that they needed to get out of state, and vice versa. You know, this is how it works. Not necessarily saying that was the case. I'm just saying in some instances, there's reasoning behind them needing to transfer inmates from one state or another. It could be a hardship. It could be a fucking compassionate fucking whatever. You know, so okay, my mom's done. She lives I live over here, but she lives over there. Can you help me out? Yeah, bam, we got you. Beep, boop, 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 boop. Not all the time and very rarely, but it does happen. You know, I ain't going to sit here and bullshit you guys. Anyways, bam. They shipped Troy Kell immediately, and this is right after he got incarcerated, you know. And he's a youngster, and he got that mind state of, man, I ain't going out like that. From his own words, he says, I ain't sucking no chorra. I ain't shining no shoes. I don't shine shoes. I ain't shining no shoes. I ain't going to do none of that. He's got life without the possibility of parole. He's going to go in there and be a true soldier and a true warrior for what he believes in. What he believes on is himself and his safety and security. He wasn't affiliated or gang related at this time. He wasn't pushing no movements. He didn't have those type of agendas. He was just a youngster that got caught up on a righteous case. He righteously did something, got told on, and he went into prison and said, you know what, I'm going to handle my motherfucking business. Period. So they ship him from Nevada to Utah. Now, everyone that knows Utah is just a little bit more notorious than Nevada, right? And I ain't going to sleep on Nevada. I'm going to say you motherfuckers in Nevada are wiggling, but at the same time, they shot him to Utah, which at that time was rocking. It was rolling. They put him in what is called an ADSEG overflow pod. Okay? An ADSEG overflow pod. From there, the vato ends up hitting the linea and becomes accustomed and acquainted with a guy that's there who's actually of a supremacist fashion, right? He actually has those type of views, and he takes to the youngster, man. He takes to Troy Kell. He sees the eye, he sees the eye of the tiger in the kid, puts him under his wing, man, and takes to him. Wasn't utilizing him, wasn't trying to use Troy Kell, because Troy Kell wasn't going to go out like that. But was basically indoctrinating him and lacing him up into the ways of the white man, right? And, you know, of course, when you're in prison, that's all you have. You kick back traditionally with your own people. You gravitate towards your own race and people. I'm sorry to say, man, and I hate and I promote, man, unity for all. But it becomes racial lines and racial tension inside prison, man, and it's a division. It's just the way it is. It sucks, I know, but at the same time, that's the way politics, that's the way love goes. Janet, that's just the way love goes, right? So he goes towards his own people, meets this older gentleman who starts lacing him up and indoctrinating him and really empowering his mind into what his belief system is, which is basically the supremacy for that one group. You guys all know what I'm talking about, so I can't say too much on YouTube. Anyways, this is how he feels at the time. Okay? And this individual just gives him the game, you know? And of course, he's getting a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And he finds himself in the hole. Administrative segregation. Now, the administrative segregation here are pods. They're basically pods. They look like a 270 design, basically buildings. And there's a top tier and a bottom tier. Okay, going into the hole, anyone that's ever done time in the hole in administrative segregation, you know the segregation. Orale, I got my segregation on. You go into the hole, and what you're going to have is a lot of different people in there doing a lot of different things and a lot of different stilos, okay? You're going to have some guys that are in there, all they want to do is bump baking soda breath on the doors and woof all day and talk shit about anybody that passes by their cell, and they got an agenda. There's some guys that go in there, you don't even know they're fucking there. They're just doing their time. They're quiet. They're reading a book. They're working out. They're doing their program the way it's supposed to be done, like a real convict, not an inmate, and handling their business. And then, of course, you got some, man, that are just trying to do the thing. They're fishing. They're taking care of business. They're politically into their thing, and that's what it is. They're programming. They're functioning. Just different aspects. Then, of course, you're going to have J-Cats that are over there doing push-ups and the wormy dogs. You just don't know what you're going to get on any given day. But best believe, man, it's like a pot of gumbo, such together, sausage, shrimp, and chicken. Oh, my. There's a little bit of everything involved in the pot. And this is what was going on. Troy Kell gets in there, and there's a lot of people from a lot of different areas in there. Of course, somehow getting in there, he becomes into some type of verbal altercation or gets involved in some type of verbal altercation with a guy named Lonnie Blackman, who was a brother, who was an Africano brother, you know what I mean? And they get into it for one reason or another, you know. I guess Lonnie Blackman had already been in there. Lonnie Blackman had been basically controlling that pod, right? Not necessarily by force, but kind of just by his dictation, by his words, man. People were spooked of him. He was a bigger Africano. You know, he's pretty much, motherfucker, this is my spot. I'm going to hold it down for the crown. You know, the crown is heavy on my head, but it is what it is. And Troy Kell, being a youngster, not going out like that, wasn't really feeling it. Of course, by now, he's already indoctrinated with that hate shit. He's already, his mind is already clouded with that. This man has life without the possibility of parole anyways, so he's not going to take words lightly. You know what I mean? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Well, in this case, he didn't give a fuck. Words hurt him, and he was going to hurt someone for those words. So they get into a verbal altercation somewhere along the line. Okay, and Troy Kell devised a plan. He devised a plan. He got a couple other white inmates that were in there with him that were basically running up under him or parallel to him. And he says, hey, this is what we're going to do. You know, and this is what made him infamous, this case right here. He said, this is what we're going to do, Bata. You're talking too much. I said, shut up, right? We're going to put in sick call slips. We're going to forge them. We're going to put that Africano's name on one, and we're going to put our names on one. Now, everybody knows that when you're going to sick call, usually in administrative segregation, you know, not in California. They ain't stupid, right? Maybe in that state, but they'll pull you out to take you to sick call. Now, of course, what they decided to do was put in these sick call slips, and they forged Lonnie Blackman's name on a sick call slip, meaning he didn't know what was going on. He's getting pulled out of his cell. Of course, getting pulled out of your cell in the hole, your first instinct is not to ask the cops why. Your first instinct is to say, because it's mandatory movement, you're going to come out. You ain't no sucker fish, you know what I mean? Period. Plus, you're getting out of your cell. You're in there 23-1, so to be able to get out of your cell is like a blessing. It's freedom. You know, so you don't ask no questions and tell no lies. So let's go to sick call. It is what it is then. So can I get Tylenol? I got a toothache. So but you don't even got no teeth. I know, but it's still aching. You know what I mean? The gums are going, wah, 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 wah. This is just what it is. You make something up. So they pull him out, but they pull these two other guys out. Now, one guy wasn't able to go to sick call, so what he had the cops do was move him to the shower area on the bottom. You know, it was shower time. He said, hey, can I take a shower on the bottom? Somewhere along the lines, the cops slipped up, and they let him shower on the bottom tier. So he's in one shower. Of course, they pull out Lonnie Blackman, another individual, and Troy Kell. Now, of course, what they do is this administrative segregation, so nobody has access or contact with each other. So they put shackles on these guys. You know, their wrist shackled to their waist. This is the way it's supposed to be. Of course, these guys made a cuff key. You know, allegedly. They made a cuff key out of a plastic spoon, a plastic spork, and were able to uncuff themselves. Okay, from there goes a video that I witnessed and that I seen myself. It's on Netflix. If you guys want to tap in and see the true story, the Gladiator story, go tap in, man. The Troy Kell story, it's on Netflix, and you'll see what happened from there. But in my words, that's good, because, you know, the guy, he got his own words, you know what I mean? I like to wiggle while I work. Trip out in a menudo style. Bang, bang. This shit was crazy. What one guy proceeded to do was to hit Lonnie Blackman from the side and they got him by the shower. So the guy in the shower basically hit him and started to choke him. The other guy grabbed him and got him in a fucking jiu-jitsu lock. He thought he was Tito Ortiz, right? Got him in the jiu-jitsu lock and held him down as Troy Kell proceeded to grab a fucking pedazo this big from where he got it. Nobody knows, right? But he pulled something out this big and proceeded to hit Lonnie Blackman 67 times in the face, the neck, the back, my neck, my back, just like that, right? He got him. He proceeded to get him, right? And the reason why this piqued my interest in this story, just like I was like, whoa, because of the viciousness that he did it. This man didn't hit him like that, hit him like that. He hit Michael Myers, what the? Miguel Myers, orale, he can't go shit on me. No, fuck, yeah, Miguel, that day he did. Okay, that day Troy Kell proceeded to bypass Jason and Michael. He did his thing, and in a vicious fashion, got up several times in the video to talk to the people that were in there and proceeded to continue to go back and hit him. In his words, when the investigators asked him, why did you hit him so many times? He said, because the motherfucker was moving. And they said, well, why did you do it? He said, I just stabbed the shit out of him. He wasn't playing. Okay? 67 times in the face area. Now, of course, this being a pod, it was all glass. Cops being in control center just sat there and watched for 5 minutes. Okay. Of course, they were waiting. Their story is they were waiting for other security to come. They were waiting for the CERT team or whatever the case may be, so that they can go in because these guys had weapons. Whatever the case may be, for 5 minutes straight, this man got hit. Okay. It was a sad situation to see it on tape. It's right on video. He hit him till he went lifeless. That's just the way it is. They call it Gladiator. Go peep it out. But the story piqued my interest, like I said, because I mean, it was the most vicious hit I've ever seen in my life, and I've seen ones where motherfuckers are metaflighted, right? But this one was different, just in the vicious nature. He got up, walked around, chest all out, he did the Conor McGregor right there. He was like, there, watch out. I won both belts. He didn't care. Okay, and now going back and them having an interview and talking about that fateful day of what was going through his mind, you could still see that look, that void look, that emptiness. When people are incarcerated and they get life without the possibility of parole, the flame goes out in them. Not the flame to hurt somebody, not the flame to take care of yourself and the security flame and to do something, but the flame of life. Okay? They no longer have anything to smile for. They no longer have that, I'm going to go give me a steak. I'm going to give me a motherfucking mamon. They don't have that no more. You know, it goes away. There are things that we take for granted every day in life that these men will never see, and women will never, ever see again. Now, people say, well, they shouldn't have did the crime. Then they wouldn't have to do the time. Yeah, I understand that. But there's some situations where people were young. They just weren't fucking fully developed in their mind. They weren't thinking shit. Shit happened. But they said, he stepped on my shoes. Next thing you know, I pushed him. He pushed me. I pushed him. He pushed me. I shot him. You fell. You know what I mean? Things happen. And, of course, you know, you're not supposed to ever take it there, but it goes there. And man, some people are deserving of second chances, even third chances in some cases, you know. So you'll never know until you're in that situation. And this guy, just looking into his eyes, you can see he's void of that flame of life, that smile, that spark, that happiness. You know, it's a cold story. It's a cold game. What happened to him as a youngster, he got caught up in a situation just trying to do what he felt was the right thing. Of course, we all know, man, shooting a motherfucker 6 times in the face ain't the right thing. Then going directly to prison, man, and stabbing someone 67 times, you're different, Bato. Okay? You're very different, right? He was a little bit different, but like I said, he always had that attitude, you know. But maybe if he would have got some more help in his life, maybe if, you know, he would have went a different route, you know, you never know. I think by him going into the Nevada prison system, the Utah prison system, and meeting that one guy that was preaching the hate, man, that just compiled everything that he was feeling anyways. And he looked for a channel to outlet his shit. And that's how it went down. And that's what it's all about. Anyways, with that being said, that's the Troy Kell story, man. I thought it was very interesting. Like I said, if you want to get in depth, go to Netflix. They have a whole documentary on it. I don't know if it's still playing. It might be on YouTube. Whatever the case may be, go trip out on it. I thought it was fucking different. To watch it and to see it on video is a whole different animal. So peep it out. If you like this, please like and subscribe. If you don't, you can hit the thumbs down. It's all good in the hood, man. It is what it is, man. Remember to go out there, man, and get everything that you want. Remember to go out there, move fast with a purpose. That's called hustling. Go out there and hustle for your family. Don't hustle anyone for their pockets. You know, leave their pockets inside out, not outside in. You know what I mean? Do what it is, man. Show them the way. Lead by example. Your children are watching you. Don't do life without, because life will do it without you. Bang, bang. The gun. You know what it is. Gang.